All right. I see. I got Tori in here. She says she can hear me. I'm having technical difficulties today, people. So I'll be here not too long. Not too long. I got to figure it all out. My monitor's doing something. It's flashing. It's got some look like it's having a little panic attack or a little mini heart attack or something like that. I don't know. Cause see, I'm not really technical like that. Not like that. Like, I don't know how to fix this type of problem. I can get the things hooked up, get it going. Technical difficulties. Days be like this. Some days are like this. I'm trying to figure it out. I got somebody in my corner. I got people in my corner saying, you can figure it out. I'm glad you believe in me. I'm glad you believe in me because listen, I am trying to figure it out. I'm telling you, I'm doing my best. I'm trying to figure it out. I really don't know what's going on. And I was like, why would this happen 15 minutes before the show starts? 15 minutes before I go live, I notice my monitor is blinking and doing some crazy stuff, and I don't really even know what it's doing. I don't. Why would this happen so close to me going live? I don't know. Things happen, and this is happening for real in real life. This is what's going on. So I won't be on here live. I won't be on here live too long today. I won't. If you're watching me on YouTube, I hope you can see me there. I don't even know because I got a lot of issues going on. I might just have to go out and buy me a new monitor. Well, not might. It definitely appears that I will have to do that because I can't work like this. Not at all. I won't be able to work like this. I can't. And I wanted to talk to you guys. I wanted us to have a little conversation. I wanted us to discuss what's going on with the missing submarine. Are we talking about that? Does that mean anything to you? I see I got Tori in here. She said, she says, I can hear you. I don't see you on YouTube. You might have to go to YouTube, go back to YouTube now. I think I just did something there. There's a lot going on behind these scenes right here. Let me tell you. But thank you for letting me know that you said, yes, you are. You will figure it out. I'm trying so hard to figure it out. You have no idea. I'm trying very, very hard to figure it out. I tell you what I will do, because I think I can do this. Nothing else. Let's do a little breath work. What I want you to do is inhale to the count of 4. And we're going to hold it for a few seconds. And then we're going to exhale. And we'll hold that for a few seconds. And we'll repeat that a few times. Now, you can close your eyes if you're in a place that you can do that. I don't want you to do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're actually sitting at the desk. If you got your head pods on and you're taking a listen, we'll vibrate with us and listen. But if you can close your eyes, close your eyes. You want to take it a step further, put your hands over your heart and feel that you are alive. That's you. Let's get into it. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. One more time. Let's inhale. Hold it a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. Doesn't that feel great? I tell you what, guys. I tell you what, it feels real good now. like I said, I'm having a lot of technical difficulties here today. I am. A whole lot of them. A whole lot of them. But you know what? I'm going to do what I can do, and I'm going to be here with you for as long as I can be here with you, because I see I got some people out here who are watching, so I want to honor you, and I want to honor the fact that you came in here with me today. How you doing, LaQuantia? How you doing, Q, Lady Q? Q said, I needed this breath work today. Listen, I needed this breath work today. I'm going to need it the rest of this afternoon because I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I wanted to have a conversation about the submarine missing. And I wanted us to have a larger conversation about what it takes to explore the unknown, what it takes to become an explorer. You know, I think that it takes like a blend of qualities to do something like that. Besides a passion for discovery, besides, just unbounded curiosity. I think curiosity is probably going to be one of the larger things. You just got to be curious. People got to have a burning desire to kind of see things and figure things out, see things that no one has seen before, or they want to be one of the few, you know? Now, as far as what's going on with the submarine, I just got to tell you guys, we gotta put some prayers in the air because, these people took some incredible risks, and people have gone down and explored the remains of the Titanic before. They have, and of course, other people have been curious enough to want to see it for themselves. I've heard so many conversations. I've heard people say, well, why couldn't they watch it on Discovery? Didn't they see the movie? And I just find that to be a little bit insensitive. I do, because these people have family members and they were curious. This is something that they wanted to see. We have to understand that when there are people who are willing to do research and explore places where a mass majority of us have not been able to explore, may not have the curiosity to explore, may not have the education, the finance, whatever it is. But number one, that curiosity that they have. So I give my hats off to them, because there's things that people will discover that will be beneficial to us here on Earth. And we won't know until we're able to explore. We won't know until they figure out how we can do some of these things. And I'm just talking about this on a very basic level. I'm not even into the science of the sea, marine biology. I'm not into that. But I certainly respect the people who are. I see Keep the Faith with Tori. She says, sad situation. It is. It really is. It's a sad situation. And so, I've been watching a little bit of what's been happening. I've read a bit of what's been going on. So I kind of followed the AP and just reading some of those articles, because I'm just, I want them to make it back. And I'm sure that they knew that there were risks. Do you guys have any idea what it's like to be curious and just passionate about anything? That even the risk, you were willing to take the risk? Have any of you done that before? It's the Noontime My Time Podcast. We're talking about the submarine missing here. And if we look here, the AP, this is the latest update that I've been able to see here. And they were talking about, the team that went to explore the wreckage of the Titanic. And right now, rescuers, they rushed ships out there, planes out there, and other equipment to the site of the disappearance. And on Thursday, the U.S. Coast Guard said that an undersea robot sent by a Canadian ship had reached the sea floor, while French researchers, did some deep diving with a robot with cameras, lights, and arms. So that also joined the operation. So authorities are hoping that underwater sounds might help narrow their search. And they're looking for these people. It's like they're thousands of miles under the sea. That's twice the size of Connecticut in waters. I can't even imagine that. I can't. So we want to have these people's families in our prayers. And I think that we should. Now, there was a researcher who I want to play this here. You guys give me a moment. I hope that you guys are hearing this. Listen, listen, guys. My man said he had to pull out because, certain safety measures were not being met as far as he was concerned, as far as for his safety, you know? And so we got to respect that. But we also have to respect the curiosity of people. They knew what they were getting into. They did. It's the Noontime My Time Podcast. I am Miss Tanya. We are discussing the missing submarine, and we're talking about what it's like to have that ultimate curiosity. What is that like? I see we got Keep the Favorite Toy. She says, I'm curious about things, but I'm not willing to take a risk. People are not hearing. Are you guys hearing me now? Let me know if you are hearing me now. I'm having my own set of technical difficulties right now, guys. I got to tell you something. Somebody let me know if you can hear my voice right now. You weren't hearing the video? Let me know. Somebody get in here and let me know. I'll read some of these comments, but someone go ahead and put in the comment and let me know if you can hear me. I got a comment here from Q. She says, I understand having curiosity, but knowingly exploring in a vessel that wasn't deemed safe, I can't say I sympathize with them at all. Well, how safe? I don't know, guys. I feel a different type of way about that. I do. I do. It takes a lot to be curious. It takes a lot to explore unknown and do things in different ways. Now, we've had people who have visited the Titanic before. They've explored before. And I get it. I get it. I guess I'm just not willing to say I don't know if it was worth it or not, because apparently they felt like it was. I feel like they felt like it was, because this was not an inexpensive trip, if I'm to understand that correctly. I see we got Keep the Faith with Tori. She says, I'm curious. I'm curious about things, but not willing to take a risk. Not willing to take the risk. Okay. I see Capture the Moment. He said, I hear you. Thank you so much, man. And I see Kim McDowell. How you doing, Kim? Good to have you here. I can hear you, not video you play. Okay. Listen, I've got some technical difficulties going on here myself today. A whole lot of them. Some things that I don't know. My monitor's going out. I'm having some issues with my sound here that I'm not so aware of. So things do happen. I think it's quite ironic that I'm having so many technical difficulties when I decided to have this discussion here today about the submarine. But to say the very least, I mean, I'm here on top. I'm on land. I'm sitting at a desk. So the technical difficulties that I am having, they're not at all life-threatening. Not at all. So a different situation. But I say that to say things happen. They absolutely do. I think I read Q's comment here where she says, I understand having the curiosity, but knowingly exploring in a vessel that wasn't deemed safe, I can't say I sympathize with them at all. Keep the Faith with Tori. Once again, she says, I'm curious about things, but not willing to take a risk. I got Les Eccles in here. He says, I agree about the insensitivity. Their family seeing funny memes and jokes about their loved ones who not coming back is something they wanted to do and could afford. If someone is at Disney and God forbid something were to happen, no one would say why they had to go to Disney. They could have seen it on YouTube. Les, we're on the same page, bro. We are on the same page here. I think I really find it to be quite insensitive. Somebody has to be curious. We need people out here curious who are willing to explore. It's going to help us. It will help us in science. I don't know anything at all about marine biology, but I know that I respect those who are curious enough to explore. I know that we need that research. I know that it's crucial for us to have that research. I know that it will help us here on top of the sea. We need that. Exploration and research, it involves challenges. It involves setbacks. It could involve losing your life. It could. And I'm sure that they were aware of that. I'm sure that they were. So I find them to be a bit heroic in doing it. I do. They risk their lives to do something that many of us can't do right now. When they figure out what happened and how they can correct this, there'll be a time when people will be taking some deep dives under the sea, and there will be things that we will be exploring, and you got to understand that and you got to respect that. I see we got Charlene McKnight in the building with us. Good to have you here with us today. I'm having a lot of difficulties here today. I'm kind of doing this almost blindly. I really am. Charlene says, I respected, and they signed waivers. I heard in an interview that the chance of it being fatal was listed several times. Prayers for all involved. Absolutely. I agree with you here. We got to pray for their families. Kim McDowell said 200,000 is what the news says. Yes, they pay quite a penny to explore, to be one of the first ones to be able to do this. See, we've got Capture the Moment. People with money do stupid things. My heart goes out to the family, but you know there are souls out in the sea. They are still unsettled. Woo. Wow. You took that deep, brother. You took that deep. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. People with money can do stupid things. They can. And people without a lot of money do stupid things. I like to say that. And I just know if people don't chart unknown territory, we will never know. We will never know. They took a risk. They did. And they paid the cost, not only with the money, because the money at this point, as you will see, is very insignificant to them right now, because it is oxygen. It is their life right now that their families are thinking about. So I wish that we could just look at the broader sense of this. So many times we're having conversations and people want to, money comes into it. I don't have anything against capitalism necessarily. We live in a capitalist society. I know where we're living, or where I'm living at least. I'm talking to you right here in the United States of America. But I want us to look at some of these things that are happening, as we talked about the story of what was happening with the Simmons family, a family who was going through a lot of drama and just toxic things going on in their family, a multi-million-dollar family. And now we're seeing what's going on with these people who are missing under the sea. It costs them lots of money to be able to be one of the ones to be able to see that. It was worth the money to them. It was worth the risk to them. But what I want you guys to see is, when it all comes down to it, money isn't going to be the most important thing in your life. We do need it. We absolutely do need it. We need to be able to take care of ourselves. We need to be able to take care of our family. So I'm not saying that. But I am saying everything is not always about money. It isn't. Because right now, these people would love to be right here on land with us safely. I know that's what their family members would want. I see Les Eccles here said, bad news, debris has been found. The sub may have imploded. Oh, wow. Right here, real time. And see, I had my my other monitor up. I was trying to keep up with the news and keep up with the latest news. And I just can't right now because it's flickering out. As he captured a moment, he said, this was a bad idea. Well, it seems like it was a bad idea, but I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. It only seems like it would be a bad idea because it didn't go right. We've done lots of things in our lives that were not necessarily good ideas, or they didn't turn out the way that we wanted them to, but we had to do it. We had to try it. I see Lady Q here. She says, I'm all for taking calculated risks, but to me, the probability and possibility of things to go wrong strongly outweigh things going right. Be curious. Dive deep into uncharted territory, but definitely with much more caution. I'll take a risk, but if the possibility and probability of things going bad outweighs the chance of me gaining or being able to share what I've gained, it's not worth it. She's not doing it. I get it. I get it. I feel the same way. That's how I am. That's why I feel such compassion, and I applaud people who are willing to take those risks that I'm not willing to take. We need those type of people. We need people who are willing to do research, willing to try, willing to risk their lives. I mean, people are taking space exploration. Somebody had to be willing to do that. We've seen people do it successfully, and we've seen it be unsuccessful. But there are people who have to do it. And I give them respect. I do. All right, guys. I get it. And Les has let me know that they found the debris. We need to have a larger conversation about respecting people who are willing to take risks, especially when we know we're not willing to do it. And we're doing things that they're not willing to do. We all won't do the same things. We won't. There's always going to be setbacks. There's always going to be challenges. And I definitely want there to always be people who are curious. We have to find a way to embrace these failures as an opportunity to learn, to adapt, to grow stronger, to do this better, to do it safer. To do it safer. But let's stop with the memes and the thinking that they could have just watched it on TV or watched National Geographic. Let's stop with that. We do dangerous things every day, but because we do them now, it doesn't seem so risky. But there was a time when you have to think about having a huge chunk of metal flying through the sky wasn't necessarily something that people thought was smart. I know people thought it was risky. I know people who right now are afraid to fly. And it doesn't even have to be beyond airplanes. I think about every day we're getting in cars. We're driving a hunk of metal that weighs thousands of pounds down roads every day. And you don't even think about it. It's risky. It didn't look like such a great idea to some people, but somebody had to be curious enough. Somebody had to be curious and somebody had to explore. So that's all I want us to think about. I don't want to go too much more into it. I'm having a whole lot of technical difficulties, as you guys know. Thank everybody who has stayed with me throughout it. I've been playing videos that you can't even hear the sound. Sometimes you couldn't hear me. Sometimes I wasn't on, I'm supposed to be streaming on YouTube as well. It came up 4 minutes late. My monitor in front of me is blinking. I can't really get to all of the things that I wanted to get to, but I did it. I survived the challenges. What I want us to do, I want us to just, keep these people's families in our prayers. Have some good vibrations in the air for them. All right, guys. Let's breathe out of here. And I'm going to try to figure this thing out. If I can't get it figured out by this evening or tomorrow, I don't know. I'm going to try to see you guys on Freedom Friday. I'm going to try to work this out. I really wasn't looking to go buy a new monitor or whatever it is that I have to do, which I think I'm being in denial if I don't admit and see that I have to, because I can't work like this. So there's some things I got to figure out. All right. Let's do some breath work, guys. And you guys make sure that you have a wonderful day. Have a good day. Continue to be curious. Wait, I see I got some more comments in here. Let me get a few more of these comments up here before I get out of here. Let me get a few more. I see Les here. He says, right, Tanya, I won't judge when broke people make horrible decisions too. Then doing GoFundMe to get buried. People get killed riding bikes and going to the mailbox, sitting in school or work, minding their business. Can't judge them for something they wanted to do. Hey, man. I like what you said here. I agree with what you're saying here too. People make horrible decisions all the time. You can make a broke decision and you can make an expensive decision. I dig what you're saying. I see caption a moment. He said, question, if they couldn't afford to do this, do you think it would have still been a good idea or in their minds? Maybe. I feel like the opportunity for them to be able to do it met their financial ability to be able to do it. I mean, people have visited the Titanic before. That is why we can see the wreckage. It's just this particular voyage has not been successful. Just like when they went up to space and they're trying to make it where, citizens can take these trips outside of being explorers and researchers. If you can afford to do something, then I feel like you should afford to do it. If you have worked and you have built an income to do whatever it is that you decide to do in terms of travel, I absolutely think you should be able to do that. So, yeah. And I got to tell you, let me put your comment up here again. I like the question that you asked me. You said, if they couldn't afford to do it, do I think it would still be yeah. And I think, the risk that they took and whatever happened, somebody's going to have to figure it out. But I know one thing. In the future, there will be travel under the sea. But they were some of the ones who risked their lives. But it'll happen. It'll happen. I see Charlene McKnight. She says, yeah, the jokes are a lot. Sad. The difference with the Disney reference is that Disney has to pass inspection, etc., to operate. Although accidents still happen there, people make decisions to partake knowing that safety was taken into consideration. Again, accidents still happen when safety is confirmed. I also like restaurants. It's also like restaurants. Many people like to eat at restaurants with a grade A after inspection. If after inspection a grade C was given, many people would not patronize that restaurant. You're right. I mean, I get what you're saying. And I understand what you guys are saying. I do. I see Les Echo Sears says, driving is more dangerous than flying. Probably more risky than the submarine. Yeah. It is. It is. Caption a Moment said, money gives you power that you wouldn't have if you didn't have it. You take more risks when you have more money. Of course. And it takes a lot of risk to make money. It takes a lot of risk to make a lot of money. So let's keep that in mind too. Take a lot of risk and a lot of failures in business ventures. So I get what you're saying. And I see you have their prayer hands there. Respect all times. Thanks so much for joining me. I love you back. I love you back. I got to tell you that, man. Caption a Moment said, loves the show. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you. You've sat through something here that I got to tell you that I myself don't even have the patience for, or thought that I had the patience for. Is it what I'm looking at right now behind this little cockpit that I'm in is getting on my nerves. Les Echo says, right. They have been doing this since 2016. No one had an issue or questioned them until now. Yeah. I got you. I see I got Malik Williams in the building. How you doing, Malik? Always good to have you in here joining the conversation. I was about to get off, man. This has been probably the most technical difficulty I have had since I have been podcasting. Some of everything that could go wrong is going wrong right now. And I just find it incredibly ironic that all of this would be going on when I decided to have a conversation about the missing submarine, and we're talking about technical difficulties and things go wrong and things can go wrong. But of course, I do not at all, please do not misunderstand. I am not comparing what I'm going through to that. Not at all, because I'm safe. I'm not at any life risk. This is just inconvenient for me. Malik's comment here, he says, I saw the CEO speak about how he was breaking laws and taking risks to be the one who pulled it off. His words were chilling 4 years ago. You're right. You're saying it. He said it. I see Mary Fonda Hines. She says, the concern for me would be the danger involved, especially with a child, young person. Somebody's got to take the risk, guys. Somebody's got to be curious. Now, obviously, I hear what all of you are saying, and I don't disagree with you. I just want us to be a little bit more sensitive to the fact that they have family members. That's all. I think the jokes are a bit much, because as curious as a person can be, and as curious as we are, we do have to know that there has to be some type of ethical responsibility. So I'm not disagreeing with you guys. Researchers have to be responsible. They do. Responsible, and they have to have integrity in their work. They got to hold up some type of ethical standards. Now, I don't know what that is, but I do know that these people had to sign waivers. They didn't go down there and not know that there were some risks. So we've got to be fair to the fact that they made these decisions, and we've got to respect that. We've got to respect their rights and respect their dignity. I think that's the least we could do. The least we could do. All of us want to be able to have opportunities to different things in life. We want to be able to do things. Somebody did it first. Somebody took a risk in anything that is great that is going on. Somebody was the first one. Somebody took the risk. Now, I know I wasn't built for it. I wasn't built for anything that had to do with it. This whole project. But I certainly, if it was successful, I tell you what, I would have been watching what they were able to capture, watching what they were able to share with us. We wouldn't be having this conversation, obviously, if it was successful. We would be watching it in awe and knowing their bravery. But let's keep that same energy. Let's keep that energy of respecting their bravery, whether you feel like they made a good decision or not. We're not going to go there. I see Malik Williams, he says, reminds me of Ron McNair. Rest in peace. Absolutely. I was talking about some of the success and failures of space exploration. We've seen this happen. We've seen things like this happen. Charlene Manak says, I'm glad people are inquisitive. We need that drive. I pray that all continue to do so as safely as possible. I agree with you. Mary Fonda Hines says, the jokes are terrible. Lives are involved. How you doing, Annie Lee? Good to see you here. Hope you are well and your sons. Good to have you here this afternoon. Annie Lee says the jokes have definitely flooded the internet. Yes, and this CEO was not being ethical based upon the build or prior video conversations. That's horrible. I really think that's horrible. I do. But the same way that you all have this information and you all are hearing this information from years before, I imagine that the persons who decided to take this trip, that this information was available for them as well. Now, I personally didn't know of it, didn't hear about it. And I really didn't know what was going on with the missing submarine until I start seeing this crossing my timeline so much. And I was like, well, let me look this up and let me see what's going on here. I'm curious. And so I was like, you know what? I don't think that this is something that we should be making as light of as we are. Haley says, Malik Williams, yeah, he is definitely too much. I'm sure his life insurance policy was ready and huge. He knew what he was doing. I also see Malik here says, I think we have to come to a comfortable place making jokes about those of the fair. Wait, let me start this over. Malik says, I think we have come to a comfortable place making jokes about those of the fairer skin. It's like since their ancestors were our opponents, we feel we can say what we please without compassion or consequences. We shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't be that way because people are people. I don't think the color of their skin matters that much to anyone right now. And certainly not to them. They needed air. They needed air. They needed air. Oxygen. That's what they needed. That's what their money couldn't buy. That is what their experience did not allow them because of how they were contained in the effort of this research and this travel and this curiosity that they had. They needed oxygen. And oxygen is not prejudice. It's right there. It doesn't have anything to do with your color of your skin. The oxygen is there for you when you're in places where it is readily available. I see Annie Lee, she says, phew, that's a whole nother conversation. It is. It's a whole nother conversation. It gets deep. And it could be deeper. There's definitely larger conversations to have. I would love for us to have those conversations because we should be having good conversations. In a woke world, many end up dead. And for what woke, and that's another conversation as well. That's a conversation that we could have. Because where they have taken woke, and I'm using air quotes right now. There's just a huge misunderstanding, misinterpretation is being used and abused. I've never seen a word so used and abused as of late as the word woke. So that's a whole nother conversation, but I would love to have it. Maybe we'll have that conversation next week. Maybe some of you guys will get in here and have that conversation with me. I need to make sure that I have everything working properly when we have that conversation because that could be a part 1, part 2. We could probably have that conversation part 3. I see Les Echo here. He agrees. He said, woke, that's another conversation. I agree with you. And I think we should have it. I hope you guys will come back and have that conversation with me. I see Annalise, she says, people use words for their benefit for sure, Tanya. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Misuse and abuse. They do. Y'all got the comments coming on in here. I'm going to stay in here with you while you got something here to say. Mary says, I still just cannot get over the danger involved. And am I correct that they signed knowing they could die? Please clear this up for me. Not sure if this is true or not. It is true. They had to sign waivers, and I'm sure anything you do like that, you will have to sign waivers. They did. Malik Williams, devil's advocate. I bet they beat his ass in the last minutes. Or would you beat him in your last minutes before your last prayer? I don't know. Because if you don't have oxygen, you can't breathe. You need to conserve that. I see Les Echo said, yes, they signed waivers. Yes. That's a confirmation for you, Mary. Yes, they signed waivers. I see Annie says, Malik, so emotionally and mentally, they probably were very distraught. Prayers suffocated, but prior to that, it was probably havoc. We'll never know. We'll never know. Because again, they signed waivers. The opportunity for this not to work, they knew. I don't know how many of us are brave enough to sign our names on a dotted line and waiver that away. Not a lot of people are. And then Les here says, don't know if they ran out of air or the whole thing just imploded. Gruesome. But if that was the case, they didn't get to suffer or feel anything. You're right. Absolutely. It imploded. So we don't know. We're having a conversation here. We don't know the details. And the latter would be the latter. Sounds better to me. See, we got Genesis here. How you doing, Genesis? Happy Thursday to you. We're talking about this submarine here. We're talking about what happened. Genesis says, it's that ordinary citizens can do this. The fact that employees had worked lawsuits and were fired claiming it wasn't safe was completely overlooked. You're right. You're right. But I think and that is a part of the larger conversation that we could be having. People can understand that because you have money doesn't mean that you can just do things. I wanted to let us know or have a conversation about people being willing to explore, being willing to be curious. And there were people who decided not to be a part of this project for exactly what you're talking about, because they felt like it wasn't safe. So there were people who looked at the information and they knew or felt that it wasn't safe and they decided not to be a part of it. Just like there were people who may have had that same information, but they decided to be a part of it. So they made their decision. I see Genesis here. She said it imploded, Les Eccles. They're saying they found the debris site at the Titanic. Yeah. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. This is crazy. The way this monitor is blinking is really, it's giving me a headache here. I got to turn this thing off. I appreciate you guys being willing to have a conversation. We got to do that. Let's be mindful of things that we share online, ways that we comment about this particular situation, because we need people who are going to explore. They got to be ethical. I'm not ignoring anything. I'm not ignoring anything that you guys are saying. I just want us to be sensitive to people who have family members. I think it's the least we can do. I think it is. All right. Annalise says, sad to say, they did not know the risk, and there was a lot of evidence made public. They made the decision and accepted the risk. Absolutely. All right. She says, bye, Tanya. Peace and light. Peace and light to you, my sister, my Trini sister. Peace and light out to you. All right, guys. You know what we got to do before we get back on that work clock? You know what we like to do? We like to kind of recenter ourselves, and we need it. So as we put some good energy in this atmosphere for the family of these people who lost their lives for whatever reason, for however you feel about it, that is your opinion. That's how you feel. Okay. But let's just have a little bit of respect. All right. It's the least we could do. Let's breathe this thing out, guys. Let's get in a little breath work. Let's do some breath work. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold a few seconds. Exhale. And hold that a few seconds. Inhale one more time. Hold a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. Now, don't you feel great? I feel great. I appreciate you guys. And if nobody gave you a smile today, if nobody smiled today, you just close your eyes and give yourself a big smile and see how that feels for you. Right? Y'all be great out here. That's what we do. One love, y'all.